Always been a frustrated guitar builder. Built my first guitar at art college in 1968, which was a plexiglass Telecaster shaped guitar, made out of all kinds of bits and pieces and things screwed together. But I got into the hardware business, and I started with a little product called a Rolling Up that was taken up by Fender in the late 80s for the Strat Plus, and that set me off on the road to making a full range of hardware. In doing this, I was actually based in Anaheim in California, and I was really fortunate in that I was surrounded by people, and I'll do a bit of name dropping. One of you've probably heard of, called Leo Fender. He was just down the road from me. His factory, G&L, was about 5 minutes drive away from my factory in Anaheim, and I got to talk to him on many occasions, and I got to ask him all the questions that an awful lot of people would love to ask somebody like Leo Fender, is why did you do it and how did you do it? And I promised myself then that when the time was right, I would like to put a range of guitars together using a lot of the knowledge that I gained from people like Leo, and also Wayne Charvel, and several of the people that were in the industry around California at that time. We have a phrase with Fretkin guitars. We say that this is your next guitar. And when I designed the guitars, I'd already kind of made the assumption that you guys probably have a Fender, you probably already have a Gibson, but you are guitar players, and as such you never ever stop wanting equipment. So we tried to design a range of guitars that actually took you a step further. We're so lucky that we are not trapped in nostalgia corner. In other words, we can build a guitar as good as possible, but we're not paying homage to our history that could have been wrong. And Leo always used to say to me, why do people like my old guitars? They were rubbish. And I used to say, with respect, Leo, they weren't rubbish. People still aspire to those guitars, whereas Leo didn't. He was just trying to build a better mousetrap every single day of his life, and that's what he did with Music Man, and that's what he did with G&L, and he died trying to do it, and I know that because I was with him the afternoon of the evening that he died. So another person that I met was a guy called Seth, and you may know that name, recognise it. He was the man who invented the humbucking pickup. There's a world price for copper, there's a world price for aluminium, nickel and cobalt, and the other parts of a pickup are just a plastic moulding. It costs exactly the same amount of money to make a pickup in China as it does in California, except the labour and also the profit margin they're willing to work on. So when you buy a Seymour Duncan pickup, you're buying a really good pickup, but they have to make it expensive, otherwise you won't believe it. I don't have that problem. I don't have a high dollar pickup range to protect. I can make you a pickup which will sound as good as a $100 pickup for $30, $40. The pickups that are on the Esprit 5 here are what we call our PAFs. There's a quick little story about the PAF. When it was designed in '56 and put on a guitar in '57, they were always turned to a number of winds. As you can imagine, 42 thousandths of wire is like a human hair, and it breaks. So if a wire broke while they were winding a pickup, they would stop the machine, which meant you stopped 6 coils from being wound. You found the wire that was broken, you connected it to the coil that was broken, and then you started the machine again. So it came down from management that if a coil broke, don't stop the machine, wind the correct number of turns, the ones that are broke, put on the end of the bench, and at the end of the day, wind those coils again, but wind them till they were full. So, how do you know what a real PAF pickup is? You don't know whether that 58, 59 Les Paul that you're treasuring has got a true PAF in it, or whether it's got one with 2 overwound coils, or 1 standard coil with 1 overwound coil. So, Seth came to visit with me to look at the machine because he'd heard that I had it, and as he was leaving I said, do me a favour, tell me how to make a real PAF, and he wrote it all down, and that's what we do. Couple of points on basses, pretty simple. That needs to be opposite the 12th fret. If that isn't opposite the 12th fret, the bass won't balance. Pickup placement is another very important thing. Leo knew all about pickup placement. He worked everything out on scale lengths. And I think it's worth mentioning this about Leo. People say, oh, he invented the guitar. He didn't. What he did do was he invented a fretted bass, and that's why it was called a precision bass, because he put frets on a bass. Leo Fender, Les Paul and Paul Bigsby used to go to Les Paul's house in the California hills and drink beer. And when you hear that, you look at a Merle Travis guitar or the Bigsby Travis guitar, you can see just exactly where the Les Paul came from, you can see where the Telecaster came from, you can see all these things that were actually put together. So Leo didn't actually do that, but what he did do is he learned how to productionise a guitar and make a guitar really, really fast, but really, really strong. And that really is his total claim to fame. We use a terminology so much these days where we say it's made from a tone wood. We call alder a tone wood, we call swamp ash a tone wood, we call maple a tone wood. Why do we say that? Because they weren't. We've made them into a tone wood because that's what we're used to hearing. When Leo wanted to make a guitar, he went down to the lumberyard, as they call it in America. And in America, the alder is used to make furniture. And it's used to make furniture to look like cherry wood. Cherry wood is very, very expensive. Alder is very, very inexpensive in comparison to cherry wood. So alder will take a cherry stain and look just like cherry wood. So people who wanted mass-produced furniture used alder. So when Leo went down to the lumberyard and said, I want some wood to make a guitar of, he just had the choices that were in the lumberyard, and that was pine, poplar, alder, maple, mahogany. They were all woods that we use for furniture. There's no intention at all of them being a tone wood. We've made them into a tone wood. Why is a Stratocaster body, or that bass body, the size that it is? Quite simply because that's what you buy when you buy lumber. If you buy lumber in America, you buy it in quarters. You buy it in 1/4 inch thicknesses. So if you buy 8/4 alder, by the time you've taken it back to your shop and machined it up, it's 1 3/4 inches thick. That's why Stratocaster body is 1 3/4. Not because of the tone, not because of anything else. It's the same with maple. You buy 5/4 maple, when you machine that down, you get 1 inch. So you can make a neck out of that, but in order to get string angle over the nut, you have to scallop the headstock. When you scallop the headstock, you realise that the B string and the high E string don't sound very good through the nut, so you have to put something on them to hold them down, and that's what we now call a string tree. It's just pure accident, but the myth and mystique that we've built up around it has just created this whole, not lies, but it's just sort of like, I just like people to understand just exactly what goes into a guitar. If you understand what goes into a guitar, you can build a good guitar. I'm not saying it's right, wrong, or whatever it is, it's just that myth and mystique. If you understand it, you can use it to your advantage. But it's what we've become used to, it's not what people set off to do. We weren't building lutes. Guitar builders call themselves luthiers. If you can't build a lute, you're not a luthier. I can't build a lute, so I'm not a luthier. I'm a guitar builder. Simple as that.